You're now leaving.
Supervisor Singer.
Here.
Councilman Stat.
Here.
Councilwoman Crowley.
Present.
Councilman Frazier.
Present.
Councilman Grunwald.
Here.
If everyone rises, flag please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Hey, can I have a motion to approve the May 11th?
Motion to approve.
Second,
Second.
any corrections, comments? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, opposed? All right, here. Want the privilege of the floor, and we'll get the presentation of the updated County Road 37 reconstruction.
Ready to go?
Ready to go?
Want me to share the presentation?
Yes, please.
And over. It's right in your way. It's okay.
I can. Anyone see all right? There you go.
Freaking. All right, good to go?
Yeah.
All right, so for those of you who don't know me, I'm Chris Day. Working, right?
Good job. Yes.
Okay, cool. Commissioner of Public Works, I was here in April with Jacob Liberati and Jesse Gotham. We came to introduce the County Road 37 construction project. We also got some feedback from folks here. So what we've done is kind of looked at some of the questions we've had, you guys had, some of the concerns. And then what we want to do tonight is kind of recap what we talked about in April, make sure we got everything squared away with everybody, and then talk about our proposed solution to move forward. All right, so next. All right, so what we talked about in April, the basic scope of the project was what was called full depth reconstruction from pretty much Canadice Hill Road to just south of Middle Road here. And what that essentially entails is ripping up the entire road right down to the dirt and rebuilding a brand new pavement section, okay? We had some concerns though, right-of-way acquisitions for some of the ditch work we wanted to do here, some of the intersection improvements here were a concern, and then there was general concern about drainage in this whole area. I think that was the bulk of the issues, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yep.
Okay, great. All right, next. All right, so just to recap, these are some of the existing conditions that I talked about at the last meeting, so I'll kind of move through these quickly. So we have pavement condition, drainage, and safety. Next. Pavement conditions, really, what you have really is two sections of road, right? Like, this is really the original road that went like this, and this was never built. This was built in like 64. So we have like a modern constructed road here. I say modern, it's 64, it's still a modern road. But here we have no idea what this road was built from. It's just been an old road for years. It probably was gravel, got some oil and stone on it, got paved, whatever. So that's kind of where we're working. We kind of have two different sections of roadway that we're working with. Next. So these are the pavement conditions in the reconstructed area that was done in 64. 4 inches of subbase, 3 inches of pavement, 7 inches of oil and stone. It's pretty typical for roads that were built in that day. Next. What we're seeing out there now is rutting and some stormwater to pool in these travel lanes. We want to get rid of that, make sure the road drains, make it safe. Next. Starting to see some shoulder distress, nothing too crazy, but stuff that we'd like to get after. Next. Got another shoulder repair that was done. Next. Okay, so drainage. So this is a new slide. So this kind of gives you a comprehensive overview of where the drainage is right now existing, okay? So there's a lot going on here with the arrows and stuff. Looking at it from a high level, what you have here is kind of like a division line. This is Canadice Lake, drains over here. Everything over here goes to Honeoye. All right, and what you see are these blue arrows kind of represent existing drainage paths for these culverts here. There's 4 culverts in this section of roadway in our project limits that we're talking about. So let's look at this culvert 33, the drainage area. It's this purple area here. So what that means is any drop of water that falls here, comes along here, goes out here and hits this wetland. Culvert 34, it's a similar drainage area. About this size, water hits here, flows down to this ditch, crosses over, gets to this wetland. 32, different direction. This is picking up water north of Birch Hill, under 37, and in this drainage path and out 31. And this would be the entire drainage area for culvert 31. So does that make sense to everyone? How water's kind of flowing, moving around?
Yep.
Right, next. This is just a picture kind of showing some of the drainage and what's going on behind the town barns there, salt shed. Next. Some of the pipes, been there a while, not the best shape. Next. Talking about some of the safety improvements here, with this intersection and some of the alignments, we can go into that in more detail. Jacob will talk about that. Next. Again, this ditch here is what's called a non-traversable hazard. We're gonna protect the slope in case an errant vehicle would get in there. Next. All right, so that was kind of what we talked about in April. Like I said, we took your concerns, and Jacob's gonna talk about where we want to go with the project, okay?
So instead of the whole project being a full depth reconstruction, we've opted to kind of split it in half. So this red section, we're gonna continue with the full depth reconstruction. Like Chris said, we aren't fully aware of what that road is, so we want to rip it all up and put a modern roadway back. But we have a decent idea of what is in this blue section. So instead of a full depth, we're going to do what's called a multi-layer inlay. It's going to be removing the top section of the road and putting back a fresh layer of asphalt to kind of rejuvenate the road that's already there. Next. So going into what the typical sections would look like for this section next. So within this area, we're going to have the full depth reconstruction, like we've been saying, that's the whole roadway down to dirt, up, and then new put back. And while we have that roadway up, it gives us the opportunity to install a closed drainage system within this, like the hamlet area here. So what that means is there's going to be a curb on the downhill side, which will collect water into drainage grates in the roadway, convey it to one primary run of pipe that will allow us to consolidate the stormwater in this area and outlet it all in one spot. Next.
This is essentially the same thing that we showed in April, right?
Yep. And then for the remainder of the project with the multi-layer overlay, it's going to be a much simpler, more of a surface treatment, like I said. So it's going to be a removal of the top section of roughly 4 inches of pavement, and then a binder course of asphalt, and then a top course of asphalt will be added in to rejuvenate, like I said, the roadway that's already there. Next. So here's kind of the updated drainage paths for what we're proposing. And as you can kind of notice, there's not a huge change, but one major change we're opting for is the removal of culvert 34 at the corner of Canadice Hill Road. So since we have the underground stormwater system, we're actually able to take the stormwater coming down off of Canadice Hill Road and plummet right into that stormwater system. So we can ignore this whole culvert right here, consolidate everything to all daylight at culvert 33. Where we think that's a good idea because culvert 33 already has a pretty established ditch that drains north into that wetland. And we're able to add riprap and armor there so that erosion won't be too big of an issue, and we can size all the pipes properly to accommodate the stormwater that's being added. Next. So with that, we thank you for your time and open the floor to any questions.
Do you want to go bring it back to that other
Back one.
back picture? Okay, there we go.
Let me, before we just, let's also the intersection here, we would not realign Birch Hill Road. Essentially, we would stop our full depth reconstruction and keep Birch Hill alignment the same as it is now. So that's a very important point that we need to make.
And then the non-recoverable ditches,
We put guardrail in front of it.
guardrails.
Yep.
All right, now it's hard to, where is Thayer's house?
He is Sayers here.
There's right here.
This guy, yep.
Right.
It's just Sayers.
Okay, so it's gonna daylight next to his house?
Yeah, go up,
Pretty
yep,
fine.
we have a culvert here now, so the water, instead of going through this path to get to this wetland, would come down through our closed drainage system and daylight through our existing culvert out into the same wetland.
There's already like a swale and stuff there that it can go through?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, I see Jeremy shaking his head too, so, because I thought you were talking about going underground and over there to bring it. In other words, where the one cross culvert you're talking about taking out, I thought it was gonna come underground.
No,
Back to the end of the first arrow and then let it go through that natural swale there.
Yeah, that was a plan, but we talked with the property owner here and he was not real receptive about any kind of easement or allowing us to put any kind of county property through his, or project through his property. So,
So
Didn't want the water there, but he didn't want something that'll keep the water away from it either. Okay.
exactly right. Yeah. So,
So I have a question for Jeremy.
Mhm.
With that, removing that culvert closest to the intersection, is that gonna change the way the salt flows that you put on the road there at that intersection? Is that gonna go west?
It already does go west, Terry.
Right now, the intersection, with the majority of it still goes down north along 37, down in front of Neil's house. And all that water ends up coming back to the same place anyways.
That doesn't change anything.
No,
Not really. It just takes longer to get there, and it actually, because it's going into that wetland and it has
kind of natural,
a natural stream flow that goes through there to probably actually be beneficial.
actually help the filter it a little bit.
That would be good.
But theoretically, with the road being reconstruction, so the water drains off of it, the amount of salt that gets used right there will not be what it is right now. It gets salted pretty good because
It's
standing
wet now.
water and it freezes.
All right, thank you.
The pipe that goes under 37, the new one, yep, that one there. So it would be the same size pipe or you have to put in a bigger pipe?
It would probably, I think right now it's only an 18-inch pipe. We've already done a stormwater analysis of that pipe already with the existing conditions and it calls for it being upsized.
Okay.
So what we're gonna do is kind of reanalyze the whole thing with this watershed included and then see if it needs to be upsized again.
Okay, that's it, because a lot of water's been coming down Candace Hill Road.
Correct.
Getting there and going.
So we've already, so that's kind of where these purple kind of areas came from, is we've already done these watershed analysis for what the size of these pipes should be. And then what we'll do is we'll combine these two into one and then run the analysis again to see what that has to be.
Anybody have any questions? That solve the having a guardrail out there instead of widening the ditch and coming back?
Where was the guardrail gonna go?
right here along the face of this. ditch.
Oh, okay,
Yeah, right there.
but everything's still the same. I live on the corner,
Mm-hmm.
right there, yeah, it's right there. Everything is still the same there that
So-
we discussed?
Yeah, so the ditch in front of your house will actually be shallowed a little bit. So it'll be, instead of such a deep
Right,
drop off, it will be, the idea is since it's so low right there in front of your, kind of near your driveway, we're able to average it out between the point near your driveway and where we can tie in around here and make it a consistent slope up to where it ties into that existing ditch coming off the Canada Hill Road. And then eventually kind of where your driveway is, there'll be a
Collection box.
yeah, a collection box where it will,
Yep, tapered inlet structure that'll grab that water coming around the ditch into the closed drainage system.
okay. And the closed drainage system is actually under the road.
underground, correct?
Yep.
And the idea is between the driveways, along this section of roadway, each cell almost will have its own collection area. So we don't have to worry about it being so flat through here. So each collection area will, or each cell will collect and then enter into that main pipe. And then it will all move this way in daylight at 33.
Right, so the drainage that goes from my property to their property across the street, that's.
We're proposing it will be
eliminated.
removed, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Anybody have any other questions?
The guardrail along there means you're not gonna move in that ditch and taking out a whole bunch of trees and doing all that. It's
The
just
ditch
gonna
will stay where it is, yeah, we may reshape it to fit within our existing highway boundary. But we won't, if there's trees that are in our boundary, we may take those to fit them in. I don't know what the exact border is here, but yeah. There's no proposed takes at all, right? I don't-
Not along here, I believe, where culvert 33 daylights right now. We propose leveling that out because again, it's quite a steep drop off. So we propose there's a small triangular take from the Thayer property and then the Swansea property as well, just to level that out. It'll actually probably make the yard more usable than it is right now, so. And then your property actually extends out into the intersection a little bit, so we might have to talk with you to get permission to do ditch work along the roadway here, but, no, like, we're not taking a huge part of your yard or anything like that.
Any takes, like, I hate using that word, but that's the word to use. Would be easement, so this would give us rights to have access and do highway work. The property would still be yours.
Are you gonna still clean out the ditches of like the grass and stuff?
Yeah, we'll have this cleaning as part of the contract.
Okay.
Yeah, reshaping, yeah.
Any other questions? Everybody good? Nice job. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Well, if all goes well, what we'll do is we'll move forward with our design. Try to get it out to bid. We'll meet with property owners that are affected, get the negotiations for the easements. Move through final design and try to hit, fall advertisement. November.
You can't get it done tomorrow?
Wish. That's that'd be nice, yeah. That would make things a lot easier. No, I have to go through the process, so. All right, any other questions? All right.
No, I think we're good.
All right, very good.
Thank you.
Time. Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Thanks.
Thanks. Another. Here, since you can walk, please. Thank you. Yep. Thanks. Yeah, no worries.
Hey. She's trying to punch stuff off on you.
No, I'm just trying to take up more space.
Oh. She's spreading out. Okay, communications have been distributed to board members and filed with the town clerk. Moving on to reports, town clerk.
Paying to the supervisor for the general fund, $1,145.56. For water billing, $2,772.15. DEC, $399.44. Animal population control fund, $15. And a paid donation to the local animal shelter, $5 for disbursement of $4,737.15. That last line is a new item that was passed by a local law. And we had to have it added into our program so that if any person renewing their dog license or purchasing a dog license has the option to donate to the shelter. And that money is passed on to the supervisor, and then at the end of the year, a check for whatever's collected the whole year will go to the shelter. It's not sent monthly. So we tested it out and donated $5.
Anybody have any questions? Motion to approve the town
I
clerk's
make a
report.
motion to approve the town clerk's report.
And a second? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried. Code enforcement. Gave us lots of reading to do.
Yes, he did.
It was a topic of conversation at PEQ today. Actually, the Seneca supervisor was questioning about anybody doing anything with solar stuff, and she's already reached out to get the Saratoga law from Joe, so. Thoughts?
Joe did a great job breaking it all down.
Yeah, you did.
Appreciate it.
Yes, he did. So do we. I think I was extremely surprised at how long their law was. But, thoughts, we go forward to, I mean, I can send this off to, we're still in the negotiating and, general code.
So one of the questions I had as I was looking through this is there are specific instances where offsets are recommended. As you looked at the Saratoga, or, just in your own opinion, are there other places where you would think we should consider offsets?
I was really particular about the state land around here, just because the state government is pushing for the solar, I'm all for the solar panels on roofs and stuff like that, but as far as the setback goes, I really like how they portrayed it in their law as far as the distances with the state property. So I think one of them was a little excessive. It was the 500 feet, the 500-foot rule. But I was trying to generalize it as much as I could. That way the planning board or whoever was looking at it can come to a consensus for the town.
And have further discussion.
Yeah,
Okay,
these are just
okay.
all particular recommendations that I saw in between the two.
To us.
Mhm.
Yeah.
What we have now and what Saratoga
Yeah.
has in place. Okay, all right, thank you.
Yeah, and there were other things too with the definitions and other things that I didn't even consider until I read their law, like the preserving the what's in front of the panels too, because of sight, which I didn't even know was a thing until I read that law.
Okay.
We have a lot of beautiful sites around here, especially up on Hollister, looking down and into the lake.
Mhm.
So if
Well,
we,
wouldn't that be pretty?
right, and if we,
Because it's all state land now.
yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, and I see a lot of bigger properties too that go up for sale, the corporations are eyeing that more than like you and I are, just because of the cost.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. That was my question.
Ontario County Planning been involved in any of this? What's their stance and
Mm.
what do they recommend? Do they have a different recommendation?
idea,
An
right.
idea? I mean, I like very much, again, I appreciate what Joe has done,
Right.
and it looks very good, but I'm wondering about the county, from a county standpoint.
The county actually has, I got an email link from them with a whole slew of information and different references from different townships that are all for the Saratoga law. So it's not just that our town that's doing it, but I think the county is also in agreement with it, and they're putting all this information on one spot. I can email you the link. I didn't go through everything because I haven't had time. I only saw the email today.
Like I say, it came up a conversation today at PEQ is kind of what got the ball rolling there to do stuff. Yeah, what we'll do is, at this point, I'll see if like county's gonna come up with a model law to begin with. Instead of everybody reinventing the same wheel. See if they're gonna, because like I say, I know Supervisor Grammer and a couple other ones were all talking about it at PEQ today, and I'm sure it'll spread from there. So I'll get something out and get it out to the county planning, because there's gonna be several changes there in the next few weeks too, so.
Did they know who's taking over for Tom?
Yes, his name is, it's Regina's husband, Matt Sousa. He was the planning director in Steuben County. He was a senior planner in Steuben County for a number of years, then became their planning director. Then he left there and went to MRB for a while. And his thought process on that when we did the interviews of going to MRB was to get familiar with the non-governmental side of engineering and development stuff. Then MRB kind of got themselves in a little bit of a pickle by purchasing a number of smaller firms, and then we're talking layoffs. And of course, he was relatively new, so he got offered a job with Fisher Associates. So right now he's with Fisher Associates, but we did the interviews. He's beginning July 15th. So he's got a lot of background. Krista Bolt is friends even prior to coming to Ontario County with the Steuben County administrator. And even though he wasn't on Matt's references, he called them and he said if Matt ever contacted him and wanted to come back, he'd take him back in a second. So, and then the other references were all very highly recommended and stuff too. So, it'll be a little bit of a change, but I think some fresh eyes are probably good. And He interviewed great. He's young. I'm sure he'll be there for a number of years too. Betsy Landry's also gonna be leaving. Tom Lyon, who's over there, who's also the city manager for the city of Canandaigua, mayor, is going to be taking over the aquatic vegetation program. So there's gonna be some changes over there. But yeah, I think Matt will be a good change there. Being refreshing here and stuff, so.
So the other part of that was the new solar bill that was passed and June first. Which is
Bring that up. How does it intertwine with all of this?
well, it intertwines with all of this because, and I gave you guys the link to go right to the rules and law part of it, and it is very similar to the solar aspect of what we're dealing with now, and it's gonna be governed by ORES and DEC. So, and that's just my opinion, that it might, just because the laws are there, doesn't mean they're gonna follow the rules that are written on paper.
Station.
They are
And it's kind of,
already, yeah.
it's kind of blown up even more than I imagined, because I mean, I did the Canandaigua Lake Trout movie this weekend, and they were talking about it there. All the fishermen were, yeah, so it's.
I mean, obviously, our two lakes are a little different than all the others that have houses on them. Do we really need solar panels floating in the lake?
Stopping them at the Stillwater Reservoir.
And the bill is actually written specifically for like retention ponds, things like that, but in every scenario that I ran, and even talked to an attorney, they specifically said there's nothing in there stopping them from putting them on a lake.
Right.
Other than the seeker and environmental forms that are governed by DEC and ORES.
And that they're ignoring.
Yeah, we're having the same thing, and I know Terry, you had brought up a thing a while back. Different but similar on the PFAS and biosolids and stuff. We had a presentation today of with the landfill closing of what they're going to be doing with the biosolids that are, currently going to the sludge and stuff that's actually going to the landfill. And there is a process. It's a very high heat process, almost on the idea of incinerator, but it's not an incinerator because it's enclosed, encapsulated of a high heat that actually destroys the PFAS. The problem is it's cost prohibitive at this point in time. So, there were about 5 different options of different things that can be done. They had done a study on how much sludge is generated in the county, where it goes to. There's 12 operations in the county that produce biosolids. 7 currently go to the Ontario County landfill. The other 12 go elsewhere, and it's probably because they're outlying, so they go to High Acres or they go to Seneca Meadows or whatever. So we're looking into that, but the same thing, the state has, got proposed legislation to not be able to use the biosolids after they have gone through the drying and dewaterization process and stuff. We're now going to use it for like fertilizer, banning it from being used as fertilizer. So now where's it going to go? Because the PFAS technically live forever unless they're high heat destroyed. So, so it's creating some additional fun stuff. Dale will give you a quick update since they already left.
Thank you, and I apologize for, I get done with that topic.
Yes.
Well, I'm just thinking if and when we move ahead with this, we might ask county planning to physically actually help us.
Right. I'm gonna check with them to see if they're gonna develop a model to begin with.
Right, but let's keep that in mind also.
Okay.
To actually get
Some
time.
assistance. Yep.
To work with us
Oh,
when
there
it
you go.
comes,
Right. Shared service.
so that we're not
Yep.
in the
Yeah.
little
Well, we get
corner
40
by
hours, we get
ourselves.
40 hours a year.
Right, we
From
have
the
a contract with them already.
Right. Yeah.
I'd like to keep that in mind as well.
Okay. Dale, what they've changed on the County Road 37 is across in front of you guys is gonna be a guardrail. They're gonna clean the ditches and stuff. If there's anything in their right of way may get removed, but I don't think there is. I think everything's back beyond the right of way. So there'll be guardrails there. The full depth reconstruction is gonna be from the corner to where Birch Hill splits off. Then they're just gonna take down a few inches and redo from there around to just past Middle Road. They're gonna leave the intersection alone. They're gonna eliminate the culvert that goes under right at the corner and dumps onto Buckland's property. What they're gonna do is they're gonna put an underground drainage system that brings it around and then puts it in the natural swale that's over here farther kitty corner from us.
On the north side.
Yes.
Right.
So that's pretty much addressed, I think, everybody's concerns that they had from the last time. They'll go into now the final design stuff and like that, and he says they're hoping to put it out to bid in the fall, so it'll be ready for spring construction.
Thank you, Chris.
Yep. I know you were interested. I was surprised you weren't here yet when it started, but
Finish up the job.
that's okay. That's all right. Got you up to date. So we're good there. All right. Anything else? Like I say, I'll check with county planning since we were kicking around and there's other towns and see if they're gonna develop a model and then maybe work with people on doing something with the solar. And I will get your information to them because it was excellent. Great job. You got anything else with your report or anything? No? Nothing exciting?
Anybody has any questions?
All right. Ted, you're up.
Okay, planning board met May 18th. A couple of applications continuing to process. You have the minutes. I don't know if you have any questions or not, but the primary, let me ask a question first. We could not remember, has the town passed the law that a board member
Not yet.
attending by Zoom can vote?
No, we have not.
All right, we played it safe and had our alternates first attended by Zoom.
They can participate, but not vote.
So we had our alternate actually do the voting and participating. So in the minutes, it shows both Craig and Hopkins voting, but it'll be corrected so that Craig is abstaining in all of the votes. The applications. Spent most of the time on the special use permit for the Full Moon Music Festival. We reviewed the input from the county. Mr. Bauer was agreeable to most things, and so to work some things out, we're gonna modify the site plan. And so we're continuing to process that. We may be able to get to a final vote on that at our June meeting. Subdivision, Pecora is on hold. And that was pretty much it. The other thing we need to discuss is that formal note asking the planning board to look into tiny homes. First thing we need to do, planning board, is get some input and direction from you folks. Right now, it appears we would have a conflict. Our current zoning only allows a single principal use on a property. So one residence, okay? With one exception, there's an exception where a second primary residence could be constructed if the property could be subdivided eventually. They don't have to subdivide, but that's a requirement to put a second principal use. The concept of accessory dwelling units is to put tiny houses on single properties. So that's in conflict. If we look at our comprehensive plan, one of their suggestions was that we should look into modifying our zoning to allow some sort, it was recommended, in the recommendation sections.
Right.
And future. their comment, I'll read it, and it doesn't say they want them to do it, but they said that one of the things that we should look at as a town would be consider revisions to zoning regulations and code to allow accessory dwelling units, which are self-contained housing units on the same lot as a primary residence. So while that was a potential goal stated in our comprehensive plan, it is at odds with our zoning. So the question is, what's our approach? Keep in mind, the beginning of the comprehensive plan is the plan for our town is to remain low density, single family, large lots. That's the
Rural.
that rural character, low density. I mean, that's the start and the whole basis of our comprehensive plan. So if we're going to consider tiny houses and zoning changes, that needs to at least be brought forth from you folks in terms of a direction. Maybe will require a discussion, what really should be our goal in terms of a town from a comprehensive plan standpoint, and then move ahead with allowing and modifying to allow accessory dwelling units or maintain our current zoning concepts of single family and large lots, lower density in town. So that's the quandary we find ourselves in right now. So we've not done anything, but a little bit of background work here. And you don't have to answer this right now, but I'm putting it out to you folks, because you're the
Valid concern, like it.
Well,
keep in mind.
one of my thoughts is obviously we would have to amend that section of the zoning code to an extent. Is the purpose of the tiny home. If the purpose of the tiny home, and it may not be allowed to be a permanent structure, it's there for specific purpose. Elderly parents, immediate family issues, so that it would actually have an end. In other words, it can't be a rental unit. They can't do it and rent it out. Is where my thought process was going, is, something to be allowed. So if they need to have someone closer to them, whether it's a child that has some developmental things, but really wants to be on its own, but not on its own, close by.
Problem's gonna find
Well-
you go to sell that in the future, someone's gonna look at that as an investment property.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing about it is it would have to have restrictions on it. And it would have to be put with restrictions that this is being approved for this purpose. And when that purpose is over, that ends too. It ends as to whether we can do it. That's my own personal thought process on the thing.
Keep in mind, we do allow accessory apartments in both the Honey Lake Shore and the rural. It's already in our code, so accessory apartments are allowed uses.
In the same structure,
Same structure.
correct.
Yeah, and it can be, by the way, it can be connected any way at any point and be considered an accessory structure that's allowable.
All
So
it has to have is like a breezeway.
for example,
Right.
in
Right.
other states and even in Richmond where they have a 2-family home, but they're actually calling it a single family home. They ran 180-foot breezeway between the two. And the code is still the code allowed it to be a single family home, even though it was clearly an accessory.
Accessory, yeah. So
Why do we automatically assume that a tiny home
That was my question.
would be a second dwelling on a parcel?
Right, because a lot of people that I'm getting are wanting to make it a single family
Their
home
house.
on the property,
Yeah.
just want to make it their
Just a little
house.
baby house,
it's a single family residence. It's
Right, but it,
small one, that
less than 600 square foot, which is again,
it's not code compliant to the
Exactly.
state code.
Today.
right.
Which is why the state code has an appendix that allows
tiny homes.
smaller
Yeah,
orientation of the property or the house.
right.
Right,
Appendix B, the tiny houses.
Is that
right?
right? Okay.
right.
but it would still have to be on its own parcel.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it have to be on its
Just
own
like a
parcel.
sing,
Right.
any other single family
Exactly.
residence.
I own, 100 acres. I want a little baby house.
Right,
And I thought that was where it was going, was that, being able to allow tiny homes
Right.
in town, just.
On your own
As
parcel.
affordable housing.
Correct,
Okay.
on a single parcel,
On a
the
single
zoning
parcel.
codes, yeah, the zoning codes wouldn't change, it would just be. Other than it's an allowable use in that
right.
district.
Right.
Okay,
Right. And that was the conversation that we had at one of the comp plan presentations
Mhm.
was, it would be another source of affordable housing other
Okay.
than a mobile home.
And we are one of the smaller towns that allows building on pre-existing non-conforming lots. So, I mean, we have lots in town that
Yeah.
are tiny. That the town allows us to build on.
Right,
But the state building code doesn't allow it because you can't meet the minimum standards. So if.
okay, so it would be an adjustment to our local building codes to allow a smaller structure, but still remain with the single or
Yeah.
one purpose.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Okay,
Right.
Yeah.
when I
Okay.
talked to the state early on, when I started here, he said that it just has to be. Amended in our code to be an allowable use in the district. Like if you don't want all of the. A ton of those things down in the Lakeshore District, you could not put them in the Lakeshore District and just allow them up here, or
Right.
vice versa.
Right.
and the only thing that, the sticking point there is the size of the structure to be
Yes.
used as a residence.
Correct,
So that falls under
the building.
No,
the
code,
building
Building
code,
code.
Not the
not the
zoning.
zoning code.
which.
I'm all right with that too.
So,
The state building code considers anything under 400 square feet. It says less than or
Yeah.
equal to 400 square. feet.
400 square feet.
So
We have properties down in the Lakeshore District that are,
I find this to be confusing, because in the Lake Shore District, I know countless people that wanted to build a detached garage and a living area. But they couldn't do it, there's not enough land,
correct,
Correct.
not enough land to subdivide
Yeah,
it.
that's the
Correct,
30%.
So
Right,
you can't do that,
No.
but so I can't see how allowing a small home
but you
is any
could,
different.
you could do that if we amended it to.
but they're talking,
Yeah.
you're thinking of what I had said with the second one. They're talking not doing that, but amending our code so you can build a tiny home, but you have to have a single parcel. It's not a second structure.
Exactly.
It's not a second structure.
There's two things going on here. You're talking about a single structure, you're putting a second structure on an existing.
Well, that's how I started.
That's how
That's
you started.
That's how I started. That was my concept of it,
Gotcha.
okay? But they're saying just allowing a smaller structure, but still on its own parcel. So it's not a second dwelling,
Yeah.
it'd be a single dwelling, it just allows it to be cramped.
Exactly.
That's where I get most of my
Okay,
complaint, not really complaints, but people. Wanna build on a lot, but they
Right.
can't. They want something smaller, but the state prevents it. And our town code prevents it. at the moment.
Code prevents it, right?
Yeah,
okay, so now if the state prevents it,
They,
my understanding is with state codes, we can make them more restrictive, but we can't make them less restrictive.
and that's what
This would
you're,
be making it less restrictive,
Mm.
because the state code's making it more restrictive.
There's an appendix.
there's an
Now, there's an
appendix.
appendix
There's an
that
appendix.
they consider 400 square feet.
Okay, and what's ours?
Six.
Ours is six.
Six.
Or the six.
So we could amend ours to bring it down to 4.
400 and
Awesome, yeah.
the district, each district use has to say tiny home.
Right.
Like
Okay,
if you look at
Right.
the approved uses.
right, in
in
each section. Okay,
So if
Right.
you didn't
I'm
want
fine with
tiny
that.
homes in one of the districts,
Right.
you would restrict it from
The
that. district.
environmental
Right,
probably would be
exactly.
used, the.
do we really even have any empty lots left in the Lake Shore
Not any
District?
on the Lake Shore.
There's
Maybe
Yeah, but
one or
there's not a
two.
lot.
There's a few, but there's actually more coming up with houses just being dilapidated and,
Right.
Right.
I mean, I see that being a. You know, in the next 10 or so years, people are gonna be tearing houses down and building new
Mhm.
because of the.
Most of them, they're tearing them down and they're taking 2 of them, and making one
Right.
big one.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, or three.
The whole north end of Canisius Lake is getting tore down with tiny cottages and there's $4 million mansions going up.
Okay, so if we go that route, which I'm fine with that too, so we just do an amendment to our building code.
Yeah, it would just be I believe it's in our zoning.
It's in our zoning.
Zoning.
Under the building department, but
Right,
it's not managed, but it's mentioned.
Right.
in the
okay,
Zoning code.
so it would be a local law to amend that to just change the allowable use in each district.
Yep.
Down to 400 instead of the 6,
Yep, and then we
We
could,
would define.
and define a tiny house.
And put it as an allowable use.
Right.
And then the question is, in all districts? Right. It's just.
Conservation, I would say no conservation district.
Conservation district.
Well,
The other
there's-
two, fine.
And then there's more to it than that, because some,
Details.
right, it's either,
And
states or.
you gives a model code, if you
Well-
wanna add it to your code.
So my question was around, whether or not, it's got wheels on it.
Or appendix B, no, so in the beginning, when I went through this, that was the big learning curve that I had to learn. So it still has to follow
Does it
every,
have to have like a foundation?
yes.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay,
So just.
And wheels is considered a trailer,
Yeah,
mobile home or whatever.
some
Yeah.
states allow tiny houses with wheels.
On wheels.
Yeah.
Yeah,
New York does not.
okay,
So just hypothetically, there's a fairly large piece of open land at the bottom of Jersey Hill on California Ranch
Mhm.
Point. If somebody wanted to populate that with small homes, would they still have to have a half-acre lots?
yeah,
Yes.
Yeah.
Not suggesting changing lots, minimum lot
No,
size.
I'm just trying to understand.
Right,
That's all. I'm
One
just trying-
half acre with 50
So
feet of
so
road
it wouldn't
frontage.
be a Honeyway Lake Park redo. They would have to have the.
Yes.
yeah,
yeah,
Unless
still
it-
gotta meet the minimum, in the rural district, they'd still have to have the 3 acres.
Okay.
They would still have to have the 3 acres.
Unless it's pre-existing non-conforming.
Right,
Right, if it's, that's,
Yeah,
that's
it's-
the one situation, so if you tear down an old place, you might run into a difficulty.
right.
Right, correct. So like the lot
Doesn't have to be an
on
open lot.
South Old Bald Hill that we had a problem with someone building there, everybody was upset about it.
right.
If they wanted to put a tiny home there, they still could, even though it's under 3 acres.
Yeah.
There's a lot on the corner of West Willow Point that is still sitting there because the people that bought it ran out of time to build in the same spot that the house was tore down at.
Yeah, well, it created that was so close to the road and fire
Yeah.
egress and egress and all
So
that.
technically
stuff.
there, that could have a tiny home set on it, even though it's less than half an acre.
Mhm.
Okay,
You talking about the roadway?
yeah, right, yeah.
I know.
Great.
Yeah.
Would there be a public hearing on this?
If it's, if
Oh,
for a
yeah.
local law to it, yes, there'd have to
Definitely,
be,
so, yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, there'd have to be a public, you'd have to draft up the local law, it'd have to be presented, and then 30 days later to have a public hearing on it,
Go
so,
through the attorney.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so
Do we want to consider it?
do we want to consider lowering the minimum structure size from 600 to 400? And then make the proper adjustments in the definitions in the codes?
No. Who said that?
Who said- You did. I recognize your voice. Nice try, Dale.
So, well, the 400 and 600 thing is gonna be a gray area problem because what about 500?
Mhm.
So I think
Well, if you lower it down to 4, 5 is okay.
Right.
yeah,
It's
but
bigger than 4.
then 500 doesn't meet the criteria for definition of tiny home. And then it also doesn't meet our minimum for the Lakeshore District.
Right,
So do we wanna define the average single family home as 600 square feet in the Lakeshore District, or do we wanna consider a tiny home the average size for the Lakeshore District?
You just lost me on that part of it.
So
I mean, if you're taking,
If
if we're
someone-
saying right now, the minimum size is 600 square foot, we lower it down to a tiny home.
400 for the state.
for state code of 400 square foot. I don't know why that's 500 is more than 400, so you could be 400 and anything up, or do we need to define the two of them as to which is the tiny home is from
Correct.
400 to 400 square foot to 500 square foot is a tiny home, or to 600, then 600 above needs to make the codes for a regular single dwelling.
Correct, because.
That's what,
because-
okay,
Because the state code only allows that appendix to operate if it's 400 or less.
Right.
So if it's 500 or less, you're never gonna meet the state minimum
For tiny
building
home.
codes inside the house for a normal home.
Right, you have defined a tiny home to begin with, if we lower our single family home down to 400.
okay, so we're gonna have to have two.
Yes, the minimum is gonna have to stay at
600, the minimum for a single dwelling, for a tiny home can be 400 or less.
Yeah, so it would have to be, it would have the definition of tiny home behind it.
Okay.
So that's still that 500 would be in
It would not, it would be a not approved use.
Would be approved, could do it.
so that 500 to 599, you cannot build a home in
Correct.
that size, that
400.
Unless there was a way
400 to 599.
before to 599, you couldn't.
So that 200 square foot, you can't do it. You gotta be tiny or you gotta be full size.
Correct.
And I mean, that could be something that we look into other towns to see how they did
That
that.
might be a better way than that.
Yeah, because it really, that's kind of a crappy situation.
Yeah, that's,
200 square foot that.
Right.
have a gap like that.
So when we discussed this earlier, there was some concern around tiny homes and safety. And being able to like get a stretcher in the door, or am I,
And that's why they came up with the appendix B, because the standards are actually a little bit more strict, even though they minimize the size limits.
right,
So there's a lot of
some
other.
things have to be
Yeah, they specify ceiling height, lobby sizes.
beautiful, okay.
Landings, landing
So you're gonna have
plan,
like a 36.
handrails, stairway guard, ladders.
For egress for a room, it's the same, it stays the same.
Thank
So, yeah,
They,
Oh, hell of a lot, 400 square feet.
I know.
I know. And there is so I missed the opportunity. There is a manufacturer in New York State now that does, that
Tiny home?
manufactures tiny homes, yeah. And Floboa did a presentation and a walkthrough with the tiny homes. But we missed it because we were doing the training, mandatory training.
Where's the company that's making them?
Oh, it's not too far from here. It's within an hour.
Road
hour
trip.
drive.
Hey, I volunteered to go to Vienna today to look at an incinerator. All right, well, we'll get some information together and we can kick it off to Sheila and,
yeah, definitely.
yeah.
Fulton,
It's in Fulton?
list tiny homes, LLC.
Yeah.
Yeah. Road trip.
They actually opened up the walkthrough to any public official, they. Floboa did. I missed it though, it was in March. But I can reach out if anybody else.
Oh, I'm sure. All right. Neat. Thank you.
Okay.
That's all.
All right.
Well, the last thing is we're considering the email that you sent us formally requesting the planning board to begin.
Okay,
We'll just kind of delay that. until
Right.
we get
we'll get some feedback from Sheila. and-
Responsibilities. of
Put some
who's
stuff
doing
together.
what.
Yep,
Okay,
yep.
when you sent us in April. Okay.
Zoning board minutes were included and they have a meeting on Wednesday night. Another should be another fun time in the town. Something that was denied is coming back. Anyways, so Jeremy, you're
They
up.
also have Cora subdivision that we're waiting on. That's with Eric.
Right, yeah, Brown Allen, yeah,
And that whole.
the neighbor trying to,
That's on the agenda for the
right,
zoning board meeting. He's hoping to get a favorable.
result.
And then on Monday, at our meeting, we'll be able to move forward with that application.
Okay. All right. What going on? Jeremy,
Correct. So the majority of the month, we've been over on Southfield Bald Hill Road, the north end of half of the road. Doing our capital improvement project. We had a blue month on rent from Admar, trimming trees, taking down overhanging branches. Ditching, replace driveway pipe, removed the cross culvert, had to lower another cross culvert. Because it was installed improperly in the first place. So Suco, my asphalt contractor, was here on the 27th and the 28th, and we did what they call cold in place recycle. So we added probably 1.5 inches of number 1 and number 2 stone, and then it was all ground up 2.5 inches of the existing asphalt wind road, put right into a paver and then put right back down. All in one pass. So it moves about 25 feet a minute. They call it the train is what the industry term is for it, because it's like a train moving down the road. So that's complete.
Looks beautiful.
Yeah, it rides nice. I'm already getting complaints as people.
they're going too fast now?
Yes, yeah.
Can't make them happy.
So Suco is planning to be back in July to do the chip seal top coat on it. And then at which point we'll put shoulders on and be done with the project, and we'll get road striping as well. So first round mowing complete. We've started the second round now. I've been trying to get out with the second tractor at least 2 days a week, pulling a guy off of what we've been doing and sticking him in the second tractor, so we get out far enough, and then Tim comes along, catches up to us, and then we'll jump back in that tractor again the following week. That seems to be working pretty good. We're making good time getting around town. So this is the 3rd year that we've had an intern with us from the BOCES program. So this year we had Owen Duell. He's a senior down at Honeoye Central. He's in the Hero program over at the Wayne Finger Lakes BOCES. It was great experience again for him and for the guys. The guys really get into having somebody that wants to learn what we do and is willing to be taught. So the remainder of the month, we've been doing some ditch and shoulder remediation over on Middle Road from our drift areas. The shoulders have gotten pretty soft and the asphalt's cracking from us having to move over so far to push the drifting back in the winter time. So we boxed all those out, filled them in with number 3 crusher run to give it some strength so it'll actually support the weight of a loaded plow truck on it. The new truck number 1, superintendent's truck, has been delivered, the 2026 Ram. I know originally we kind of hemmed and hawed about what we were going to do with the existing trucks. I guess we decided that we're just going to continue with our existing program and get rid of the oldest truck and then just keep passing them down every 2 years like we've been doing. So we're hopeful that with the truck that just got passed down to the cruise truck, because it doesn't really get a whole lot of use and then it doesn't use the snowplow in the winter time, that we won't have the electrical issues that we're having with it. But the new truck number 525 Mack 10 wheeler is built. We did a post-build inspection a couple of weeks ago over at Viking and Oakfield. Found a short little list of things they had to address. They're supposed to deliver that here any day now to the shop to drop the snow plows off. It's got to go up to BMAC just to have its final gone through, and then that will be delivered to us. The new John Deere tractor was just delivered last week to Stevenson's Equipment out in Syracuse. The boom mower was delivered probably about 2 months ago, so we're on a list to get put in the shop and have that installed, so hopefully here by the end of the month, we'll be mowing with that. I'm still working with my sales rep on getting the new financial numbers. Originally, when we approved that, we were gonna do 3-year lease on that. So he's still getting me some numbers on that. The new CHIPS numbers have been released finally, now that the budget has been passed. We're getting an additional 13,200 this year. If possible, I would like to see a budget modification to have that additional funding put in there so that I can use that to do some more paving. One last thing, didn't make my report, Jersey Hill project. I spoke with Jonathan, the engineer. They have an RFP out for soil boring with a ending date of tomorrow, so they'll be able to award that. And then the completion for the soil boring was to be done by the 10th of July. So they're waiting on that to develop their final plan, and then they also have their surveyor going over to resurvey the failure area. So they know how far into, I guess it's Gertz owns along in the gully there. What we need to do as far as
Any easements.
an easement into that, yep. And that's all I've got.
Included in the thing that we also got, oh, never mind, it's with Terry's. It's all Terry's. Anybody got any questions for Jeremy?
You spend a lot of money.
Yes.
It costs a lot of money. The good part about going as early as we did with our paving project, hopefully we save some money because as the summer goes on, the oil index goes up and it costs more.
Yep. Besides the fact, I like the fact that it was done early and we get the heat, it gets to set up, because we aren't gonna plow it into the ditch.
Right.
Gets to get paint down in there and stays.
Sure,
That's all we have, so Wetzel.
you didn't say anything about plowing snow this month.
Iron Lake, Mr. Granwell.
So I'm gonna do this a little differently. So I sent you my report a week ago, 6 days ago. Ruth and I were out earlier today. And the good news is the water clarity improved by 2 feet. The bad news is the lake was 6.5 degrees Fahrenheit warm. In 1 week, in 6 days. 6.5 degrees, so. And a week ago, we saw absolutely no algae. Okay. Today, we saw sparse amounts of Anabita and microcystis.
Yeah, I was just almost to a point I was gonna ask.
A warm water. And the water is a lot warmer than it typically is at this time of June. So I've started my weekly watershed task force blogs. If you're curious of what's going on in the lake, you can check them out every Monday night on the task force website. We get going here in July and August, it's very popular. I get 150 to 200 blog views a week. Weed harvesting program is getting set to go. Betsy Landry's still looking for 1 or 2 more summer boys. Unless Chris has an update, as far as I know, she's
I'm looking for 1 right now.
1, okay. So I included that. And I don't know if anybody is a walleye fisherman, but the DEC is gonna stock 33,000 walleye fingerlings this year in June. That is my update.
How many years does it take before they can catch them?
Well, keep it, catch and keep.
Oh, yeah, well, that's it.
Yeah, yeah,
I'll assume
3 to 4 years.
We can eat them.
the next
3 to
5
4
days will not help with the algae blooms.
Mhm.
Being 80+ degrees the next 5 days. I assume that won't help with the algae blooms.
With it being warm the next few days, the algae and the lake temperature, yeah, it'll,
Okay, so,
we need a good rain.
well, I'll try to do this. It's
Next week.
in 90 seconds.
Good luck.
The lake is well mixed right now. It has dissolved oxygen through the whole water column, clear down near the bottom. And when we get our blooms, what happens is when the lake stratifies, the bottom water goes anoxic, no dissolved oxygen. The phosphorus iron bond breaks, releases phosphorus. So we won't have a bloom until the lake stratifies for several weeks and then mixes. So I'm quite confident saying the month of June, we will not have a bloom. July, I'm not so confident. I tried. All right, I'm done.
Yeah, so if anybody knows, college student, high school students that would like to exercise their muscles this summer. We're looking for laborers to help with the, pitchforking and picking up the weeds and loading the barge and stuff like that. We've got, a couple that have CDL licenses and everything to be able to drive the truck, and returning ones that have driven the harvester. All the staffing is now being run through Canadice. Although the FLOPA grant and everything reimburses the cost, along with some of the costs of the actual operation. With towns, anything that exceeds the $45,000 we get from the FLOPA grant, gets split between the two towns, with us 1/4 and Richmond 3/4. We got a new contract. The main framework of the contract from 2012 is still in place, that basically outlines the FLOPA grant, the division and everything. The exhibit A that's attached to it, we're still kind of working out some of the details with the changes of us taking over, basically running the employees through our personnel and our payroll. And then they use the school and the marina on the county's account to get gas, so and diesel and stuff like that. So we're still playing around. We approved the contract at PEQ today, with the caveat that we're still working on the exhibit A, just to make. I just can't see them invoicing us and us sending an invoice to Richmond to turn around and send an in, the way they had it designed is there was just too many people going back and forth and too many, we got to streamline that. And I said that was just nuts the way they,
Set it up.
yeah, because the grant's got to come through the county.
Mm-hmm.
So we're just streamlining as to, I want to keep it very similar to what it was, that at the end of the year, we get one bill, that's our quarter, and Richmond gets one bill.
Right.
So we're trying to get it back to that with taking out, and then we had a discussion on the equipment, because the way that was reading is that the county owns the equipment and is loaning it to us. So we paid a lot of money,
Right.
but most of the purchases have been a split between both towns and the county. And they're all titled to the county right now and insured by the county. So we're kind of playing around with that. One of the things I wanted put into there is if the useful life goes and they just get, not abandoned, but, disposed of. But if they're sold, I want it written in there that anything that sells has the same split as when we purchased it.
Smart.
Because that wasn't the way it read in there, is that the county owns it, and if something happens to it,
It's the county.
it's the county that gets any of the money on it, but yet we pay for part of the repairs and everything else. So I wanted to clarify in there that if it's sold, if it's disposed of because it's no longer any use, that's one thing. But if it's sold because we're either replacing it or the program ends, that whatever money is realized from all that equipment, the money is still split and divided between the town and the county, the towns and the county, the way it was purchased.
Right.
So.
Right. So I know we do this later on tonight, but one of the things that I have advocated for the last several years is bumping these hourly rates.
We did.
Okay,
That's what Betsy recommended to me for them for this year.
I know. Terry has heard me, like I say over and over again. You make a very good point. That is real work out there.
Yeah.
And I'd love to see it minimum of $20.
For the one that's at 19?
Yeah, for the
Okay,
labor.
Betsy and I had that I just put the 19 in there because that was the one that's not filled.
Right.
So Betsy and I had that discussion today, is that we can adjust that depending on the person that comes in and the hours that they can work or whatever the case may be,
Okay.
so.
I think 20 is a good number because there's all kinds of high schoolers, they're getting $20 for just about anything and there's.
We're paying $20 an hour for interns to do design work.
Yeah.
This is real work.
Yes, yes.
I mean, we can adjust that thing to make that other labor 20. Okay, I don't have a problem with that. I just dropped it, I just put it at 19, figured it was somebody with no experience coming in.
I know.
Where the other ones have been here. All three of
That
those
should
are
be
returned.
20 and the other one should be 21. In my opinion.
But when we get there, you can amend it.
Okay. Yay.
They have the truck situation taken care of this year?
Oh,
As far as what? Part of it.
They have their own truck?
No.
Yes.
Yeah, we bought it from Naples.
Okay.
Yeah, and two of the people that were hired have CDL licenses.
Okay. I
So,
know they were still asking last year for to
For
use the
help.
truck.
Yeah.
We sent it down a couple times, but 10-wheelers are too tall, they don't fit underneath the
Conveyor.
conveyor without having to lift the
What-
body up the back underneath it and then.
what may be, on occasion, if it has to be transported to either Alpha Boats or whatever, we may have to work something out there when it has to be transported any length, any distance.
Okay.
But for actual what they're doing around here and stuff like that, they bought a truck from Naples last year. So. All right. Assessor's report has been copied and on file with the town clerk. Grievance day went very, very smooth according to what she told me, and things went well, and there were only 19 that filed things with her, and so that went all right. I think she sent me that might be one that files for certiorari. Yeah, so that's not bad. And so there's that one. Water district report just came in today, so that was on your desks.
Yeah, and I did not get a chance to look at it before the meeting. I
Yeah.
did notice, thank you for the work order report.
Okay,
May was actually high, almost $3,000. We had a fan in the tank that had to be replaced.
right.
And then we had to purchase, think of it as a firewall for the tank so that nobody can, break into the tank monitoring.
Right.
And so now you have an annual software subscription for that firewall, and that was $1,000.
Right.
So.
And then we had all the fun just trying to get them to talk to each other again.
Really?
Yeah, everybody's working
Is
fine
everybody
now.
working?
Everybody's
Okay.
working fine now. They actually have a spare SIM card over there because we only had one SIM card go bad. And once I got done arguing with Verizon, they replaced both of them.
Beautiful.
So there's a spare SIM card
Good.
now.
Thank you. All right, and like I say, I'll take a look about usage next month.
250th celebration.
Well, I did give you an updated timeline and just kind of where we're at. I need help. I need to know who wants to step up.
That's the visitors website.
And it is on the Finger Lakes website. Unfortunately, the way they did it, it's not on the main page, but if it's searchable where you can find it. I'd like them to list it so it's listed when you see Victor and everyone else, and they haven't gotten back to me yet with that. So since we're talking about Finger Lakes Visitors Connection, Jessica has the information, but she has not gotten back to us.
Well, notice that you're top on, the around town page. So that was kind of nice.
Yeah, but if you go to the website, there's a listing that's got everyone. And it'd be nice if we were in that general listing as well. We're just looking for fun things to do on July 11th.
Got it.
So you can get there, but if you go to their website and then go to, right, but that's what you see when you do a Google search or Bing.
Yeah.
But go to, hit the upper left of Finger Lakes. And then you'll see
Things to do?
Yeah, try, yeah.
No.
All the main pages.
Anyways,
It'll come up with America 250 celebrations and July 4th events, but we're not listed in that scroll as we should be.
I see
That's
what
really
you're
what the
saying.
goal was. They didn't quite get there. I don't know if they don't know how to do that. That part I don't know.
okay.
Well, I know.
They did do something.
I know the Visitors Connection, they were busy putting a lot of things together for a presentation. We had a PEQ today, so.
Sure.
And comparing rental, hotel things and visitors and all that fun stuff. There was a lot of information that came through today from them.
So I appreciate Kate, you bringing that up. So what I would like to know is who will be here on July 11th, which is the date of our event.
I don't think I'm gonna be here, no. Yeah,
So I have Chris Singer will be here.
yeah, well, I'll be here because I got a lot of stuff I'm bringing. One of the things I will say is I firmed up this morning. For those of you that have been around town for a while, Alan Hopkins, John Hopkins' son, has agreed to come up and play music at the event.
Neat.
Yes.
It's
With,
huge.
yes, with, he'll be in period costume and playing antique period type of musical instruments and songs. So, he was excited to hear from me, and I was excited that he called back, and I was amazed that he's 82, but boy, is he still active playing places. He's all over the place. So, but he is committed to be here from 12:30 until 3:30.
Okay, Denise Kuhn indicated she'd be here that day, so I have 3 people, and do I hear?
What do you mean you have 3 people? I already said I agreed one of the things. You have to be here for that?
If you say you're gonna be here, that you got it in record, it's in the minutes.
Are you gonna zoom in?
I can't.
Yeah.
Just re-record it.
Flash drive, I'll put it in the PA system.
So, on that note, I do have some folks that we have some slots to read excerpts that are predefined for you for the Declaration of Independence. Feel free to step up, and that's open to anyone. Chris had a great idea. If we have a lack of town residents, you might reach out to fellow Board of Supervisors, and maybe 1 or 2 of them might want to come.
I actually printed up letters inviting them all to it
Okay,
and asked if they would be interested in participating at all. And I also included to invite Chris Bolt.
oh, very good.
So, I will be distributing those in their mailboxes when I go back there Wednesday. So they'll have them.
That's helpful. What else do I have on the list? And if you have any questions after I'm done, feel free. And time capsule items. If you think of things we might want to put in a time capsule, we're still kind of working out how big that envelope's gonna be. It looks like Jeremy's got something there. Or is that your water bottle?
Oh, it's not a water bottle.
Yeah.
So that's a 4-inch pipe with a blue cap.
Yep.
Obviously that's not 4-inch.
Sure. Jeremy's saving us a lot of money with this.
No, and that.
If we've got bigger, I mean, the thing is, we could buy a stainless steel container, $800, and I don't think we need to do that.
No.
But we can, I researched something and
Where do we plan on burying this baby?
that's a great question. You got lots of places there. Yeah, it could be over here, it could be in a lot of, we'll certainly talk about that. It'd be on town property for sure.
We could plant it in the garden.
A little plaque above it.
Yeah.
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 Yeah,
Okay, oh, well,
yes.
think of something.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll find out what the 7 Barks is about. Maybe we can put that in there.
I thought about putting a newspaper in because especially newspapers might not exist and.
Yeah, that's an understatement. They're slowly disappearing now.
Yeah, that won't take up much room.
Right, things like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
all right.
We might have different thumb drives and things like that, but there might not be anywhere to read it.
Random.
Right. Any of that media is just useless.
Change.
8-track, so we'll see what we
Yeah.
come up with. So any questions? Anyone else want to step up?
I got any pennies in there since they may not exist?
That's a great
That's a
idea.
great idea.
I just got the names of our 2 designees that are going to be going to Girl State through the Legion. And they actually are back the 8th. So they're there, actually, they're there through July 4th weekend. Izzy, get over here. And so I was gonna see if they would want to come up and
Oh, and
do
read.
some of the readings
Yeah.
and stuff too,
Okay.
and be up here. So,
Any other questions? Come on, please spread the word. We're not sure how many people we're gonna get.
oh, I forgot to ask you when we were in there. I've printed out some little things, different things that have the American flag or the Statue of Liberty or shooting stars and stuff to put out for kids to color. And I have lots of crayons and markers. Meant to ask you, I also have all kinds of things with paint. My kids used to love painting rocks.
They still do. They love painting rocks.
Paint the rocks, so we could, something to keep the kids occupied.
Absolutely. Put them in our garden or take them home, whatever they want.
Yeah.
I assume they're going to announce that you were friends with George Washington.
Yes.
Oh, Chad.
I don't think you can get far enough.
My mother said, when she would say to me, I would say, you have to come home sometime. You gotta come back sometime.
Do I?
Yes. Okay. All right. Answer.
Where are you gonna get the cupcakes from?
Place in Lima, I forgot the name of it. We got didn't we? You see the abstract?
Yeah,
The abstract.
it's in the abstract.
And it'll be delivered, which is great.
Oh, they're gonna deliver them?
Yes.
We just have to make a lemonade.
Or buy it and an iced tea, yeah. Yep.
I got 100 gallon jugs. I can make lots of iced tea, and I got a couple of them spigot coolers.
And Wegmans organic lemonade is usually pretty cheap.
But I can make some tea.
Organic lemonade.
Man,
I definitely want to nail that down. Perhaps we're gonna need to have a meeting then.
Probably.
Just to make sure we're on.
Make sure we got, cups and all that fun stuff.
Anyone else that wants to be involved in? Please get back to us.
He
Thank you.
is scared away by Virgil. He didn't come tonight.
I know, but he did 2 meetings in a row.
We'll draft them. We'll get them around. One of the questions to think about, and you wanted to, and I've been thinking about it too, is I got a big roll of brown paper, make a timeline from through and we could break it like into decades.
Right.
Where do you plan on putting this thing where people can write on it?
It's funny you bring that up because another idea I had was the easel paper with the 3M Post-it note on the top. That might be easier and we might be able to move it a little better. And I thought about doing it in here, kind of like when we had was it the comp plan overview? So in here, they could just kind of write on the wall. And then we're covered with
Be careful if you got kids doing it.
that's where we need event volunteers.
Easels, we can have it right outside where
Well,
everything.
there's the wind, like, if we've got enough
Binder
easels.
clips. We got lots of binder clips. Okay.
If we got enough, it's a whole staffing thing and then lugging stuff out there. Just don't know about the wind.
Right.
are we gonna put that in the time capsule?
Wind? No, I think, no, they would be, we're gonna use that again for our bicentennial.
And I also mentioned to Alan about the bicentennial too, so he says hopefully he'll still be around.
Something to look forward to.
And he seems like he's doing pretty good.
Yes.
So, okay,
Thank you.
supervisor's financial report, and copied to everyone. General fund began with $1,750,775.18 and ended the month with $1,750,540.17. Highway began with $628,328.03 and ended with $584,561.96. District. On the page. Water district began with $427,594.66 and ended with $442,574.64. Trust and agency began with $4,706.26 and ended with $4,940.18. We got sales tax in and stuff, so that's why things didn't really change a whole heck of a lot. One of the things I want to mention to people that, people may think, oh, there are some large balances there, but when we get into this huge $1.5 million project on Jersey Hill, kind of like the water district, we're going to be fronting. Yeah, well, it'll go quick. We have to front it before we get back, and then we got almost a $400,000 of our portion of it. So just for people be aware that. But we are in good shape and we can handle doing that without having to take any loan or bands out. So that's a good thing. No transfers. This month we'll do the resolution to increase the capital from the CHIPS. And then I'm also gonna include a resolution for the grant, the Fleximat grant that you're finishing to get rid of that. So I'll have the amount coming in as a revenue and get rid of that negative in what's been paid out. To properly.
Yeah, I'm getting ready to order that stuff here, so.
Okay. Motion to approve the financial report.
I move.
I'll second.
Any other questions? All in favor? Sorry, folks. I didn't think everybody wanted me to copy this for him. It's the audit. I gave you the DNA, which is basically the summary of the thing. With I think it's page 3 or 4, that it said overages, variances from budget to the end. We put Krista and I put the explanations in there that came through. That's what we had to respond back to them. We sent that back to them last week.
Okay, great.
So this is the draft document at the moment. I've gone through most of it. We're looking good here. I apparently got a hairball. You want to? No, it's got a tickle right inside of my throat. So, anybody has any questions on that? They will probably come and do a presentation when we get the final. Okay. And answer any questions anybody has.
Okay.
So moving on to unfinished business. Authorization to order the next 10-wheeler so we can lock in our spot since they take 2.5 years to show up.
You said they came down here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he came down. The price was the same for what I gave you last month, but he did increase the horsepower up to 505 horsepower from the 470 with.
Beautiful.
Yep.
And maintained that same price.
Make a motion to approve purchasing the 10-wheeler.
Second.
Any other questions? All in favor? Opposed? Here. Okay. Oh, I forgot to print that part out, didn't I? Setting a public hearing, entertaining comments pertaining to the adoption of local law number 1, intro and title of local law, pursuant to chapter 97, 2011 of local laws of the state of New York and section 3C of general municipal law overriding the tax levy limit for fiscal year 2027. This is a housekeeping thing that we do every year. I don't anticipate us having to exceed the tax cap. Since this thing went into effect, I think the only time we did was the year we brought the water district online because they didn't give us any disposition for having to increase the special assessment. But it's a gap stop so that we don't have to put money away if by chance we do have to exceed it, but I don't think that's gonna be an issue at all.
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
I oppose. And the last one is resolution setting the salaries for the seasonal labor. Can I have a motion to approve first
I'll make a motion to.
and a second?
Maybe.
No, a second,
Sure.
second.
Maybe.
Are there any discussion?
I'd like to have a discussion.
Okay, go for it.
I would like to recommend that the labor for any hire is starts at $20. And to move Devon to 21. And then, you know, I would throw the other two out for consideration to the rest of the board. 25 is not bad,
Yeah, but how long has Pauline been there?
a long time. And she's experienced and she's good at it.
Yeah. And Andrew, is he?
He's been there at least a couple, 3 years.
3 years. Can we bump those as well?
I would definitely bump her to like 27.
I was gonna say, we do 27 for both.
I said, well, it's good with me.
Thank you.
All right, and the resolution as amended with Pauline and Andrew being 27, Devin being 21, and the new one being 20.
All in favor?
All in favor as amended?
Aye.
All
Thank you.
right.
Yeah.
Great.
Betsy will be thrilled.
Good. Good.
Question from the floor.
Uh-huh.
Do you have their harassment training set up yet?
June 17th.
Okay, because they could go in on that, because that'll help them, because there's been,
Yep.
it helps everybody if they.
I just passed all the things out, set up the harassment and workplace violence
Our
are June 17th, starting at 9 a.m. So, and I figure we'll have some things to drink here. Don't get all excited. Not that kind of drink at that hour in the morning. And, you know, probably I'll get some tray of subs or something for lunch afterwards. So I did there in the email, had an email to the ones I had email from the planning board, and then asked Holly to forward to the ones I didn't have email addresses for the notice for the training. And I put them in the ZBA mailbox because they got a meeting Wednesday night. And you guys all got them. Highway already did theirs. There's one other training that has become mandatory. Also, there's nothing set up yet, is cybersecurity. And as soon as Association of Towns, and it affects anybody that works on a town computer or a town cell phone, because they access the web from the cell phones. So when I
And the
know about that one,
iPads too,
huh?
the iPads too.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
if they're working with a town computer of some type.
And when you say access to town computer, are you including this, the conference room? That's a dumb machine. Do you realize that? It doesn't have anything on it. But
Right.
you do access the web.
But they can't go surfing and stuff on it,
So
so,
you could, but,
well, yeah. Somebody's gonna be in here and we're gonna know it.
right.
So anyways, so that's when I get that information. So June 17th is that training. If you've taken the training either through a job or through another organization or something, we just need something, whether it's a copy of a sign-in sheet, a certificate, or something from the organization that you took it from, saying that you attended it, to put in our records so that we're in compliance in case anybody ever looks.
Cool.
So. And that's all I have, except for we have to approve the bills.
Make a motion to approve bills.
Second.
Any questions on the bills? All in favor? Oh, here, last privilege of the floor. Ed.
when can we expect a local law allowing Zoom voting for people attending the meetings by Zoom?
There's a lot of conflicting information on that, is why I haven't done anything yet, because they're finding some areas that have approved that it's being abused. So
Many people aren't showing up.
they're not showing up physically and just showing, just zooming in for convenience as opposed to showing up. So
Even though there's a quorum, an in-person quorum required.
There is an in-person quorum.
Yeah, there is an
and you
in-person
can
quorum.
Stipulate they would only be allowed to use that option maybe
Right.
twice a year.
yeah, we have to
That's cool.
we have to bring it in. And reel it in. So, yeah, there's been some discussions on it. It's just trying to bring it around so it doesn't get abused. And just, people being, okay, well, I'm gonna, be a half-time resident. Not be here and try to run everything from, because I know when we had during the pandemic and we had to do even a lot of our county meetings by Zoom, you lose a lot. You don't quite get all the conversation and stuff. And sometimes if you want to call it banter, that you need to really make a good decision. So, yeah, we need to try to come up with some confines on that. Try to get some feedback, but
Thank you.
it's there. Yep. Anybody else?
Speaking of local laws, the AI discussion and that's some kind of code allowing digital documenting. Because we still don't have that. As far as accepting documentation of the building code for pictures and digital PDFs instead of paper ones. We spoke about this a little bit.
But we do get them digital.
We do, but technically it's supposed to be a town approved code. Cause some towns still don't allow it, where
You mean like,
if I say to a contractor, take a photo of the hole with the tape measure in it, I'll accept that photo.
gotcha.
Or an engineer, where the new code is requiring some 180 documents in a plan now. So the town doesn't have the capacity to hold all that paper document somewhere, so the state has allowed it, so now they're letting small towns allow it too, but it has to be in the town code.
Okay.
So like PDFs from engineers.
Well, I can go along with the digital acceptance of digital documents and stuff.
Yeah.
Where's the AI coming from?
The
I don't like
AI,
that.
the AI is an acceptance of the town for letting officials use AI in decision making.
No. They got a lot of groans.
Not only decision making, but processing information, searching, like.
That's different.
It
It's
is-
really different.
It is different,
Yeah.
and all three of them coincide with each other, and if you look at the way other towns have passed it, it's. Some towns pass, these ones are acceptable, these ones are not,
Mhm.
other towns put
How are you gonna
parameters.
control it?
Well, that's what I'm,
He wants us.
Yeah, I would wanna look further at that. And like I say, AI is still very much like soft right now, exploratory.
And it's
People-
not always accurate.
Yeah,
No,
people are
it's not.
using it for malicious things. They're, it's too young. It's still, kind of an infant, even though it's been around since the 50s. In terms of using it for process.
Right, well,
I see what I do agree with the electronic though, that we should look at that.
Yes.
Okay.
yeah. Yeah, definitely, the acceptance of the digital documents, where it's in there, where we gotta do that. And again,
Town law, or where would that go?
well, it would be a local law, but the thing we've got going on, that's kind of a relatively simple one, bringing in the tiny homes, that thing is a little bit more complicated. But
We spoke
we've got
about,
hanging out there, changing to the 360 code, which general code would do a deep dive in all of our codes to begin with. So adding that little part of it may be all part of something with going with the 360. When they do the deep dive, they'll put everything together in one thing to make sure all of our definitions from one part of the codes to the next and stuff are all consistent, and everything else. So it may be just one big local law to change a lot of that stuff at one time.
Cool.
so that's part of the 360. We wouldn't be able to technically operate that legally without having some kind of digital
Right.
code acceptance
Right.
in the law.
Yep. So. All right. It's always in order.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second. All in favor?